Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lady Peace. In today's video we are going to be learning how to draft a corset with an armhole. If you are new here, please do well to hit on the subscribe button, and to all my old subscribers, thank you so much for always coming around to engage on my videos, and I love you guys so much. So in my next video I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to go about the stitching and how to fix everything together and have a better look, just like what I have here. If you haven't subscribed and you love contents like this, please do well to hit on the subscribe button. So without wasting much of your time, let's just get into today's video. Welcome back guys. So these are the materials we'll be needing for this, and these are the measurements you'll be needing for this tutorial. Okay, so I have my pattern paper, I have my scissors and every other drawing materials. Please take note that this pattern paper is on fold, okay, and this part here is a folded part, but I'm going to be turning this over to this other area here so you guys can see this clearly. And I'm also going to be using my sellotape here to just tape this paper down, so that by the time I'm drafting on it, it's not going to be like moving around. Okay, I'm going to draw up a line at the top of this paper to serve as a shoulder line. Now this is where we are going to be taking all our body measurements from. First, I'm going to place this tape on the shoulder line here, and I'm going to mark my shoulder to bust point. Okay, so shoulder to bust point for me is 11 inches, and then shoulder to under bust, I've marked it here, shoulder to the waistline, and then shoulder to my hip line, like the full length of this top. So I marked 25 inches. And once you're through with that, I'll just go ahead and connect all these lines to give me a straight line. Next, I'm going to place my tape on the shoulder line here, and I'm going to mark half of my shoulder measurement. So my shoulder is actually 15 inches and half of that is 7.5. I've marked it here, and I marked neck width of 4 inches, and I'm going to come down by about 3.5 inches here for my neck depth, and after then I'll use my curved rule to connect the neckline. Now we are not going to be making use of this, but for the sake of this tutorial and so that you understand what we are doing here, I decided to connect this neckline here. So please pay attention to what I'm doing here. From where I marked my shoulder, half of my shoulder measurements, I'm just going to come down by 1 inch here for our shoulder slope. So I'm going to connect that back to the neck width using my straight ruler. Once you're through with that, the next thing to do is to get our chest line. Now, like I said, if you don't know how to get your chest line, go ahead and divide your round bust by 6 and add 1.5 to it. Whatever you get becomes your chest line. Or you can decide to go up from your bust point by 2 inches, or you can just decide to mark whatever you have. But for me, what I love doing is going up from my bust point by 2 inches, and then I'll connect this into a straight line. Once you're through with that, come to your chest line and mark half of your shoulder measurement, just like we did on the shoulder line. This is to enable us have like a straight line across this area here. So I'm going to use my ruler now to connect a straight line from the shoulder area down to this point, like from where we came down from, that 1 inch point that I came down by. I'll just connect it back to my chest line, just like this. Now once you're through with that, just go ahead and call this the chest line, this is the bust line, this is my under bust, this is the waistline here, and of course this is the top length, like the full length of my blouse. I'm going to come to this area here and I'm going to divide whatever I have here by 2. So just go ahead and place your tape this way. So I had 8 inches and half of that is 4 inches. So I'm going to mark wherever I have 4 inches here. Now you can actually decide to just fold your tape, and from that point I'm also going to go in by ½ inch, and once you're through with that, I'm going to come to my chest line and I'm going to mark my round bust divided by 4. On your chest line, go ahead and mark your round bust divided by 4, and after then I'll use my curved ruler to connect an armhole. Once you're done connecting your armhole, the next thing to do is to get our dart. So on my bust point, I'm going to mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is actually 8 inches and half of it is 4 inches. I decided to add ½ inch to it, so I marked 4.5. I marked it on the bust point, under bust point. I will mark it here on my waistline, and I will mark it on the full length of this blouse. And once I'm through with that, I'll use my ruler to connect all those points to give me a straight line. Next, I'm going to come down from my bust point here by 1 inch. Remember to take note of this. Come down from your bust point by 1 inch here. I went ahead to make a point there, and on the waistline here, I'm going to go out on both sides by ½ inch. Okay, so remember to always take your dart from the waistline. So I marked ½ inch on both sides, and I'm going to connect those points back to this top here where I marked where I came down actually from the bust point by 1 inch. I'll just mark all of them to that point, and I'm also going to repeat same thing to this other side. And once I'm through, I'll just connect this same part here. I'll just connect the same thing down to the full length of this blouse. Taking note of this part, please make sure you take note of this part. Just go ahead and connect this point back here, and then do same to the other side. I'm done connecting this, and you guys can see how everything came out very neat. So make sure you take note of this very part. This is how to get like your dart. Now come to this shoulder area here. You're going to divide whatever you have there by 2. So please take note of how I'm placing my tape. From this neck width area here, I placed it down to this other point, and whatever I have, I'm going to go ahead and fold my tape this way to that point and then divide it by 2. So I'm going to make a point here, and from that point I'm going to connect it from here now back to my dart. So guys, it's now time to get our corset, and at this point I decided to switch marker. Like, I decided to use another marker for this part so that you guys can see everything clearly. But before we start using the marker pen, I'm also going to come to this my bust point area here, and I'm going to measure what I have in between my bust point and my under bust. So go ahead and place your tape down to this point, and whenever I do this, I get 4 inches. So I'm going to be using these 4 inches to create a round circle. Please make sure that you are placing your tape this way, just like what I'm doing here. Make sure that I place my tape, that my tape is exactly on this point here, and why I create this circle. So guys, this is what I had after I was done. So it's now time to switch marker. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this area here where I have my under bust. Now from this dot line, from this particular point here, I'm going to come out by 1/2 inch. So once you're through with that, you're going to also come to this area here and go out from this point by 1/2 inch. Now once I'm through with that, I'm now going to connect this back to the full length of my blouse. Next, I'm going to come to this area here and then connect this from this 1 inch. Remember, we came down from the bust point by 1 inch, so I'm going to connect this using my curved ruler to connect like a curve from this point here. I'll just connect it this way. So go ahead and connect it this way, and once you're through, you're going to then connect this other part as well using your straight ruler. So I'll just use this straight ruler here, try as much as possible to also get a point down to this part here, so you can see how beautiful this looks, right? Now I'm going to come to this pointed area here and connect a straight line back to my bust point. So just connect using the straight ruler just like this. Now once you're through with that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to come to this part here from after your chest line. From your chest line, go down by 1 inch, and from that point you're going to come in again by 1/2 inch and then connect it like a straight line. Okay, so just go ahead and do what I'm doing here. Connect a straight line to meet that point, like that 1/2 inch point. And once you're through with that, you're going to come to the top area. Okay, so this top area, but before then, go ahead and measure what you have on your under bust from this point where we have the green marker pen here. I'm going to measure what I have. I have about 1.5 inch. So I'm going to come to the top area here from where we have this division where that middle line is. I'm going to give 1 inch to the part going towards the center, and I'll give 1/2 inch to the part going towards the side. Now remember, I told you guys that this pattern paper is on fold. Okay, so I gave 1 inch to the part going towards the center, and I gave 1/2 inch to the part going towards the side. And I'm going to use my curved ruler. Anyhow it is, just try your best to get like a curve. Okay, you can see how I'm trying to use my curved rule to connect a point from that point I marked there back to the bust point, and I'm going to do same thing for the other side. So guys, once you're done connecting that, you're going to come to this part here and you're going to go out by 1/2 inch. So you're going to do that on both sides. Now this is to prevent our corset from having any gaping at the top. So once you're through, connect it back to the line. Once you have something looking like this, go ahead and cancel this. Like this line here, they are no longer needed, so we are going to be using the second one instead. Now to get our cup, I'm going to come to this area here where we have like a division here and connect this from that point back to my under bust. So just take note of what I'm doing. Just connect from that point. You remember this line we drew earlier, so I'm going to mark from that point down to my under bust. Okay, so just like this, can you see? So once you're through, you're now going to, you see how it's looking already, right? You're now going to connect from the top area back to that point again. Now this is how it looks. You can see that one side of our cup is ready, so it's now time to work on the other side. So guys, I'll advise you pay attention to this part very well, because this is like where the main issue is. So I'm going to come from this point. I'll go out by ½ inch. So I've gone ahead to mark it there, and I'm going to connect from that point down to that ½ inch point. Can you see? So we are trying to get like our armhole, or should I say the sleeve, how do I call it? So remember, this is a corset with an armhole. So I've connected it this way, and from that point you're going to connect it back to the shoulder line. You can actually see where I'm connecting this back to. Okay, so just take note of this. So connect it with your straight ruler back to this point here. Can you see? So when you do this correctly, you have something looking like this. You can see that our corset is already coming to life. So the next thing we are going to do now is to get our second cup. So to do that, you will need to come from the chest line, okay, where we have our armhole area there. We are going to measure what we have in between that point. Please take note of this. So go ahead and place your tape from this area here. We are going to come in from this point. Take notes please, from this point. So I'll place my tape this way, and I'm going to come in by ½ inch. Okay, so can you see what I'm doing? So right now from that point, I'm going to use my curved ruler now to connect from my under bust straight to that point using my curved ruler. So just take note. So make sure that you try as much as possible to connect from your under bust right to that point you marked. After connecting it, I'll just extend this line straight to meet my armhole, just like this. So you can see that our two cups are ready, and this is how beautiful this looks. Make sure that yours looks exactly like this. So the next thing to do is we are now going to start imputing all our body measurements. On the chest line, I marked my round bust divided by 4, and I replaced the dart here of 1½ inch, and I'm going to also add my stitching allowance of 1½ inch. So at this point I decided to extend all my lines. So you can actually decide to try this, and please send a DM to me on Instagram at Style by Lady Peace. Let me see what you did, and let me know if you'll be needing any correction for this. So I imputed my stitching allowance of 1½ inch. So on the waistline, I'm going to mark my round waist divided by 4, and I'm also going to replace this dart here and add stitching allowance of 1½ inch. And on the full length of this top, I'm going to mark half of my round hip divided by 4. I'll also replace the dart here and also add my stitching allowance to it too. Please make sure to always replace your darts, because if you don't do that, it's going to be too small actually. So once you're through with that, just go ahead and connect all the last points together to give you your body shape. So guys, this is just how to go about the drafting of a corset with an armhole. So we've come to the end of this, and it's now time to go ahead and cut this out. Please take note of the part I am cutting out, and after then we'll go over to drafting of our back pattern.
So many times that I miss you. I know how to call when I want to. Now you got way bigger issues. You're running around like you single. Slow down, only you the ginger the whole town. Slow it sometime, go out, mountain for your back, make her run wild. Now you got way bigger issues. You're running around like you single. slow down. Only you the ginger the whole town. Slow it sometime. Go out, mountain for your back, make it run wild.
So guys, for the back pattern here, I've gone ahead to place another pattern paper on the table here. I also went ahead to draw a line here to serve as our zipper allowance, and this line measures 1.5 inch. Okay, so now that I'm done connecting that, the next thing to do is to draw a line at the top here, which will serve as our shoulder line, just like we did for the front pattern. Once you're through with that, you're going to place your tape here and take your bust point, shoulder to bust point, and you're going to mark shoulder to under bust. You're going to mark shoulder to your waistline, and then you're also going to mark shoulder to the full length of your blouse. Once you're through with that, go ahead and connect all those points to give you a straight line. After connecting that, this is what I have. I also went up from my bust point to get my chest line, and on the shoulder line I marked my neck width of 4 inches and I came down neck depth of about 1.5 inch. Now I'm not going to be using this. For those of you that might want to use this is just for you to take note of it. Now if you don't know how to draft a basic bodice, I already have a video on my channel here on how you can draft a basic bodice. Please let me know if you've been needing it, or you can go ahead and check down there. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark half of my shoulder measurement here, just like we did for the front pattern, and from that point I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope and then connect it back to my neck width. I'm also going to connect a straight line from this point here back to my chest line. This is just for we to get our armhole, so go ahead and connect a line down to your chest line just like this. And once you're through with that, the next thing to do is to get your armhole, divide whatever you have here by 2. For me, I had 8 inches and half of it is 4, and from that point there will be no need going in by ½ inch because we're trying to draft like the back pattern. Now that's optional. On the chest line, I'm going to mark my round bust by divided by 4, which is 10 inches for me, and I'll connect from that point down to meet my chest line just like this. So once you're through with that, so at this point I decided to use my marker pen so that it can be very bold for you guys to see. The next thing we are going to do now is to get our dart. Now the only difference between the back dart and the dart in front is because we are going to, for the back pattern, we are going to start from the chest line, while the front pattern we started from our bust point. So I just went ahead to mark all this: the chest line, bust line, under bust line, waistline, and the full length of our blouse. So from the chest line, I'm going to mark half of my nipple to nipple measurement here plus ½ inch, just like I did for the front pattern. I will mark this and then connect it into a straight line. After connecting this, I'm going to come to the waistline and go out on both sides by ½ inch and then connect this back to the chest line. Now remember, for the front pattern we came down from the bust line by 1 inch and connected it to that point. So for this back pattern we are going to connect it directly to the chest line. I'm done connecting the dart and this is how it looks. The next thing to do is to come to our shoulder line here and divide what we have by 2 and then connect the line back to our dart. So So guys, I'm done connecting this, and there's something I want to do. Please take note of this. Now for the neckline, I want the back neckline to have like a curve. So we're not going to be using the first neckline I drew. So remember that the front armhole started from this shoulder area where we have this like the division here in the middle. So please make sure that the back has to start exactly from there. I just hope you understand. So the back neckline depends on what you want. You can actually decide to do like a V neckline, or you can actually decide to do a circle. So for me, I want to like draft like a circle, and this is me trying to show you. Please take note, make sure you're not placing your ruler this way, okay? So I'm going to show you how you're going to place your ruler, and I'm going to be using my marker for this. Okay, so this was where I realized what I was doing. So you can decide to use your straight ruler and connect a straight line down to your chest line, or you can decide to use your curved ruler. So for me, I want mine to have like a circle behind, so I've decided to use my curved ruler here to connect a circle down to my chest line. So I'm just going to connect it down to this point outside the zipper allowance line. Okay, so that means the first neckline we have here, we're not going to be using it. And another thing I want you guys to know is I also want my back, the blouse, like the back part to be shorter. Like the front is supposed to be longer than the back. That is just like an inspiration I got on my own. I just want it to be that way, but you can totally decide not to make yours that way. So you can actually see this on the picture. This is what I'm trying to say. So you can decide not to do that, and because of that, I decided to make the waistline more visible, because I'll just stop there instead of using the full length of my blouse. And after then, I'm just going to go ahead and add all my body measurement to it, and I will make sure to add my stitching allowance to this. Remember, it was 1.5 inch. Now on the waistline, I marked my round waist divided by 4, and I replaced this dart. Please don't make this mistake. I went ahead to mark my stitching allowance first, but this was where I realized that I had to replace my my dart, and then added the stitching allowance to it. Now, just like I said, you can decide not to use this method and just make yours very like you just want the length to be equal, but for me, I wanted the back to be shorter. That was why I stopped at my waistline. I don't know, I just had this inspiration that let me just do something different today, and I don't know, I actually love how it came out. So this is it here. I've gone ahead to connect every other thing, and the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and cut this out. But before I cut this out, I want to come to the waistline here. Whatever you're doing, even if you don't want yours to be shorter, make sure you come to the waistline and you're going to go out from this point by 1/2 inch. Now this is to prevent our zip from having any bulginess at the back. So I'm going to connect from that point back to the neckline. So guys, this is how the back looks, and this is how the front pieces looks as well. I'm so excited about this particular vlog. Oh sorry, this particular video. I don't know why I'm talking about vlog these days. So everything came out very beautiful and nice. So in my next video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to go about the cutting, how you can transfer this to your fabric and then cut them out and have a better result. And please don't forget to subscribe so that by the time I drop that video, you'll be first to get notified about it. I'll drop it in no time. So thanks for watching this video. Thanks for always coming back to engage. Thanks for your comments. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.